Today's episode of The Mom Game is brought to you by our friends at Gateway Buick GMC at LBJ and Jupiter. I know that buying a car can be stressful, but not at Gateway because their slogan is, Gateway's got it. And what that means, what does that mean? I'll tell you what it means. It means Gateway's got a wide selection of new Buicks, GMCs, and GM-certified used vehicles, all competitively priced. Gateway's got it. In these busy times, you want a car dealer who makes things easy and convenient. Guess what? Gateway's got it. When you log on to gatewaybuickgmc.com, look for the Shop, Click, Drive button. This allows you to shop from the comfort of your home. Who doesn't want that? I mean, it's as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1, select your vehicle. 2, create your offer. 3, schedule your delivery. And on top of all this, Gateway Buick GMC offers complimentary car washes for life. So when you want a dealer who has it all, Gateway's got it. You can find them online at gatewaybuickgmc.com or shop in person at LBJ and Jupiter. GMC, we are professional grade. Experience the new Buick. And welcome to episode 201 of The Mom Game. And suck it, Julie, because I mixed it up on the Gateway read.
You did.
I did it on purpose because I've become so predictable in my Gateway read that, like, last week, you and Ashley were like,
I was just conducting you.
Right. And so I'm like, you watch this. I'm going to change it up. I'm going to mix it up.
Very impressive, Emily.
Thank you very much. But
I don't think I plan to suck it today.
That's so aggressive. Just come out firing. Come out firing. Yeah, so I did. I took that little mental note last week and thought I'm going to mix it up.
That's awesome.
Professional broadcaster, Julie. Yeah, hey.
Hi.
Here we are. Episode 201 of The Mom Game. We've got 2 special guests coming up on the show, both interesting stories about their businesses. One is a new sponsor, Epic Waters. Michelle Hernandez is going to be here to talk to us about all the cool things going on at Epic Waters. We've gotten to experience some of those firsthand. And then we've got Tiff from Tiff's Treats, like the Tiff.
The Tiff.
And let me tell you something. She is effing awesome.
Yeah.
We could have talked to her for like 8 hours. She was amazing.
I feel like
Such
we always
a cool story.
say that.
I know.
We have some really wonderful guests on here that we could talk to for hours.
We do.
But yeah, her story is very cool.
Yeah, so stay tuned for those, but we've got some catching up to do. In the meantime, hear from the Coppola Studios here at the Mom. Oh, shit, we forgot to give Tiff a bottle of wine.
Yeah, we did. She's
Damn
not
it.
still there, is she?
She's not.
Oh.
We'll get her one.
Okay.
We'll get her one. We'll get her a bottle of Coppola. It's our new thing. We're going to start giving bottles of wine, bottles of Coppola wine, and a little sample of some Early Bird CBDs.
Yes.
Which we'll talk about Early Bird here in a second. Let's talk about it right now. Early Bird's back on board, which we're excited about. We've had a partnership with them for a super, super long time. They've been a great partner to us. And, Eric Culver at Early Bird, we kind of he reassesses usually the first 2 weeks of every year, and the last few years we've been lucky enough for him to say, yeah, this partnership's working great, and we're excited about it. So Early Bird CBD, for those who don't know, has a little hint of THC that gives you that little zen and the calm. For me, I've talked about it a million times. I can't say it enough. It's a huge, huge factor in me chilling out, letting my mind slow down, helping me sleep. So, having that little hint of THC mixed with that CBD really does make it super, super effective. A lot of cool things coming up. First of all, one new thing that's already here is the new flavor, the new texture.
Yeah.
Has more of a fruit snack feel, if you will, and you don't get that as I said on the call with Eric, it had a little bit of a weed flavor in the old formula, but the new formula they've been working on, it's great. Same exact ingredients as far as the THC and the CBD.
Cannabinoid formulation.
Cannabinoid.
Same.
Well, thank you very much for letting me know that. So they've got a really cool program coming up that will be given to us as mom gamers and all of our listeners and viewers, an ability to get a 4-pack free shipping, free everything. So stay tuned for details of that. It's a whole sample program that they're launching, and they're going to do it with us here on the Mom Game. We're super excited about that. And then we, of course, still have our discount code, which now we know has been cleared out. So even if you've taken advantage of our discount code before, this is a new code, still works the same, and you can do it again, even if you've taken advantage before. So the code is The Mom Game, and that gets you 20% off of any a la carte order. So any order you make on the website, you just enter that code, The Mom Game, and you'll get 20% off. So super happy to have Early Bird back on board. Earlybirdcbd.com is where you can find them. They are awesome. Also in plenty of retail locations throughout the DFW area. You can find a list of those on their website. There's, a couple in Fort Worth, the Sunflower Shop, which I frequent, and then Roy Pope Grocery Store. So there's probably some near you if you want to just pop on over and get some off the shelf. But check out Early Bird CBD for sure. So, okay, things we need to catch up on. Kids, weather, stomach bugs, colonoscopies.
Yeah, you've got a lot.
Where do you want to start?
So
I've got Rangers news.
You and your family have had a lot coming out.
A lot coming out.
But now you have to have something going up.
Going up.
Emily, your poor body.
So listen, when is the last time you had a stomach bug?
Keep track. I don't.
Okay.
I mean, I get hungover a lot.
Okay, but
then I throw up.
But do you throw up all day?
If I'm badly, my hangovers, and I always tell Kelly, I don't know if it's post all the drugs I had to put in my body to stay alive way back when, but something's changed in my hangovers. If it's bad, I will throw up all day.
All day.
Yeah. But as far as just a stomach bug, I don't feel like I've had one of those.
Okay, so first of all, did you make it through your 2 weeks? Are you still not drinking?
No, I drank once in 10 days or something. So I was proud of that. And
that's great.
Really now it's just I'll have a drink. It was both Saturdays,
Okay.
But during the week I'm not drinking at all.
Good.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's awesome. You feel good?
I do.
Yeah.
I feel good.
Okay. Well, good for you. So hangovers aside, you can't remember the last time you've had a stomach bug.
Yeah.
I cannot remember the last time either. So what happened was Friday night, Hattie had a birthday party. She ate some pizza, some cookie cake, then went to the rodeo with friends and had popcorn, cotton candy, ice cream. She was fine when she went to bed on Friday night. I think it was 2 a.m. She comes in my room and she's like, "Mommy, I threw up." And I'm immediate was like, "You did," because I can smell it. And I'm like, "Fuck." So, and then the whole way as I'm walking to her room, I'm like, please just let her have made it to the toilet or just at least to the bathroom. I open the door.
No.
First of all, the smell.
The worst.
It's the worst. And let me tell you, Julia, it was a vomit war zone.
Oh,
It was on every piece of bedding.
Oh, no.
It was on the carpet. There was a trail of vomit tears all the way to the bathroom. It was
Did you cry?
Everywhere. No, I wanted to, but then I'm like, crying's not going to do me any good.
Yeah.
So finally I was like, I thought she had garbage stomach, and my friend Jessica calls it garbage stomach. She's like, she just had garbage stomach.
My kids get that.
She needed to puke. I'm like, get it all out. Well, while I was cleaning up, she ends up puking a couple more times. So then I'm like, just go get in the guest bed, just try to go to sleep, drink some water, put a cold rag over your head, whatever. So she keeps puking. And so finally we get to the bile, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, mommy, what is this? I don't like the taste. The taste is awful." And I was like, "Oh honey, that's the bile." She's like, "What is bile?" And I was like, "Well, congratulations. There's nothing left in your stomach. What is bile?" I'm like, "It's like the lining of your stomach or some shit like that. Like it's like acid that breaks down stuff. I don't know, but it's."
Oh, I'm about to throw up just thinking about it.
So I was like,
my mouth just started.
I said, "So here's
watering.
the deal. You're there's nothing else left in you. There's nothing. Yeah, everything's out. So all you got left is this bile, and hopefully that'll be gone soon." So anyway, she goes to bed. I am like, F it. I contemplated, like, do I just throw away all of this bedding, burn the mattress, and just get everything new, start all new. And it wasn't in the mattress. But it was literally on the sheets, the pillowcases, the duvet cover, the blanket that goes on the duvet cover, on the fabric bed. Like she's got cloth bed or whatever it is. There's fabric on like the bed frame or whatever. Then the carpet. I just was like, it was so overwhelming that I went back in my room. I got my.
Did she even try to get to the toilet?
So her bed is here. Her bathroom is on. Let's just say if you're looking at it on the right side.
Yeah.
She took the long way home. She went
took the
left
scenic
side.
route.
Yes. And I was like, hey, honey, pro tip, next time you're going to violently vomit all over yourself and everything else, just take the short route. Like, let's eliminate some of these steps here.
Oh,
so, I mean, but God love her. She was, half asleep or whatever. So anyway, so I go get my AirPods. I put in my AirPods and I started watching a show. Oh, I was watching Beef. The show on, I forget what it's on.
An award or two. Yeah.
So I was watching Beef and I'm like, well, I'm just going to keep watching the show. So I put my AirPods in and
you watch it on your phone?
I watch it, but at that point I'm established enough with the characters that I know kind of what's going on. So I don't have to pay that close of attention to it. I could have put it on her TV and done it, but I was like, whatever. I just need a distraction to keep me awake for the next 2.5 hours so I can do multiple loads of laundry.
Oh my gosh.
Stain treat. So first you got to rinse the chunks and then you got to spray it and then you've got to put it in the washing. I mean, so it's like, I've got multiple loads of laundry going. Then I've got to salvage this carpet. So that's a whole step process that I ended up even like vacuuming that night. Like I just was like, I'm getting this. I'm not going to wake up to this.
It's a weird feeling to like go to bed with chunks still on your kids.
You can't,
floor
right?
In bed,
right? I'm like, so I committed. I got through it. So the next day, she feels like she's still puny, doesn't feel great. We went to go see. We'd already bought tickets to go see Mean Girls. She wanted to take her friends. By the way, I'm not sure that was the best mom move to go take her to see Mean Girls. We'll get into that later if we want.
While she was sick or just in general?
Just in general.
Really?
So anyway, she just laid there, but I still thought she just had garbage stomach, right? I just thought, of course she's puny. She doesn't have anything in her stomach. She puked it all out.
She needs to
So
her strength.
Anyway, Sunday, I wake up, she's fine, everybody's great, we're cooking stuff, getting ready for the Cowboy game. I'm having the best day, working out, I'm cooking stuff. I had assembled a Traeger grill for my fucking husband for his birthday. I mean, I am just like on top of the world. Yeah. Chores done. Invited a couple girlfriends over. Let's have a glass of wine and watch this Cowboys game while my buffalo bacon chicken ranch dip cooks on the Traeger,
just killing the game.
I mean, just
killing it.
Slaying. So anyway, everybody leaves. It was an early night. Cowboys sucked. Whatever. Go to bed at a decent hour. I had probably 3 or 4 glasses of wine over the course of like 5 or 6 hours. Like nothing. Whatever. I mean, which probably says something about me, but whatever. Whatever. I was fine. Went to bed relatively early. 12:30. I wake up and I'm like I feel like I'm disoriented. I don't know what's going on. I'm completely drenched in sweat. Mike's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? And I was like, feel my face right now. It's so clammy. And all of a sudden I just sprint.
Oh no.
And I'm like, here it is. And so
the pre-vomit woke you up.
The pre-vomit woke me up. Thank God. And so then we're talking about 7 hours of
throwing up.
It's coming everywhere. It's both ends. And now I shouldn't even admit this because it's embarrassing to say as a woman, but like, I don't know how good your bladder control is, but I'm like puking so hard that like a little bit of pee is coming out. And I'm like, I'm such a sad sack of shit right now. Like, I mean, I cannot stop.
Vomit, pee, uncontrollable pee,
diarrhea. Like you can't, like, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. Like,
those are the moments you just kind of want to die.
And it's fucking freezing cold.
Yes.
We have concrete tile floors. Like, I'm like, this, this probably needs to be where it ends for me. Like this, I should just go now.
Just put me out of my misery.
It was awful. So finally, like I'm throwing, cause then you puke and then you're so thirsty. Like just so much water. Just give me all the water. And then 5 minutes, and it tastes so good, and you feel so good, like that post puke glow.
Yeah,
like
and you think you're like, I'm through
that, baby.
Yeah.
I am back.
There
Give
is
me
a
all the water.
Flow.
And then that 5 minutes later, here comes the water, and I'm not even like slowly sauntering to the toilet. I am mad fucking sprinting to get to the toilet to vomit a liter of water that I had just drank.
Oh.
And so anyway,
That sounds terrible.
it was
This was on
awful.
This was on MLK Day.
This was on MLK Day.
Happy MLK.
So, which was actually a good time for it to happen because no one's doing anything. The weather's shit.
Yeah. But you had everybody home.
But I did have everybody. Well, actually, Hattie had spent the night with a friend, and they were playing in the snow. And and Mike was actually really sweet. Like he was like, "Do you need anything?" And I'm like, "I can't. I had nothing."
Were you calling them dads?
So I was not calling dads. No, I'm so ills. So I was like, "No, I don't want anything." But he did. He went to the store and he got me 7-Up. Like, when's the last time he had a 7-Up?
We do that like if one of the kids has a
7-Up actually was like it worked.
It works, yeah.
It was good.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just want some ice water, and then he was like, I'm gonna go get you some 7-Up, and he got me some of this Lipton noodle soup that I really like. I never ended up eating the soup.
Yeah, it's
I ended up eating an English muffin all day. Stayed in bed all day, and then woke up Tuesday, felt fine. So it was like 24-hour bug. Like and so now that we made it through last night, everyone that I was around on Sunday, I was like, okay, let's hold our breath until we get to Wednesday morning, because if anybody, I just looking at the timeline, I was like, okay, it basically was 48 hours exactly after Hattie.
Was everybody clear?
Everybody's clear, including like the 2 girlfriends that I had over. I was like, oh God, I feel really bad. So I had an English muffin. That's all I ate on Tuesday. Well, now it's that was Monday, English muffin. Yesterday, I had 2 bean burritos, crushed them from Taco Bell. Was so excited. I was so hungry. I know. So good. Like, there is nothing like 2 bean and cheese burritos, no onions, no red sauce.
I have a bad thing for Taco Bell. That might be the last time I had a stomach bug.
So listen, Taco Bell, I love so much. So I had that, and then I got busy last night. Had like a little bit of this like goulash stuff that I made. Then I got busy because I have stuff going on with work, Rangers, blah, blah, blah. And then not thinking that this morning when I wake up, I am prepping for a colonoscopy. So within a span of like 72 hours, I'm going to have had an English muffin and 2 bean burritos from Taco Bell. And I can only be on clear liquids. I mean, you can eat stuff like broth or whatever. So I guess I'll eat some broth. But then I've got
colonoscopy is tomorrow.
Colonoscopy is Thursday. So... And this is a normal thing now. Now it's 45 that you're supposed to get a colonoscopy. Well, I'm 46, and I still haven't gotten mine. I'm late. And so I've been putting it off because I was supposed to get it during the postseason run last year. Kept putting it off. Anyway, so I'm biting the bullet. I'm going to get the colonoscopy.
I'm excited for the full report next week.
Sure. Thanks.
So you've been through a lot.
Yeah. And then so I was telling Henry about this, and it was so funny. He goes, Mom, because you got to take these pills, and then you basically just like it drains your whole system out. And Henry goes, Mom, you're doing all this so they can stick a camera up your butt? And I was like, pretty much.
Oh.
So colonoscopy coming tomorrow. I may lose like 5 pounds over that course of 72 hours, but then I can assure you I will eat my face off as soon as I'm allowed to eat.
Back to Taco Bell?
On Thursday. Might go straight back to Taco Bell. Might up it to 3 bean and cheese burritos.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's what's been going on with me. The stomach bug, the kids, the weather, all the things, the colonoscopy. That's where I'm at in my life right now.
That's a lot.
Julie, how are you?
I'm fine. I can't believe they tell you not to eat for that long. That would be so hard.
Yeah. So, and I don't even know when my appointment is. So I won't find out when my appointment is until 3:30 today. So my appointment could be at 3:30 tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I could end up going a really long time without eating, which made me think of our guest last week, Jesse Hawley, who's like not eating shit for like a month. And I'm like 12 hours into
days
this thing.
With no food.
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah. So anyway,
Crazy.
That's probably all TMI.
I wish you luck.
That's what I'm here for.
TMI on TMG.
Yeah.
It's part of the deal around here.
It is.
And I think people can relate to stomach bugs and colonoscopies.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. How did you survive the weather apocalypse, the cold apocalypse?
Yeah. That was crazy because the kids had Monday off for MLK Day, and then they ended up canceling school on Tuesday, and I think that was most districts. And we got the snowpocalypse on Monday morning, which was super fun. Anna, bless her heart, she wants to. She should be living in Canada. Like, she's
Okay.
told me before, like, I always just want to be outside. I don't care if it's cold. I don't care if it's hot. I want to be outside. She wants to play hockey. She wants to snowboard. She wants to ski. She wants to go sledding. She wants
Okay, have you
everything.
taken them skiing?
No.
Y'all got to take them.
Sounds like a lot of work and really expensive.
I said the same thing. It definitely is expensive. I definitely said the same thing about a lot of work. But once you like get a system,
Yeah.
and you figure it out the first day, like, okay, this is our system, and
Yeah.
but it's worth it. Your kids would love it, and you put them in ski school, which is also really expensive, but
Yeah.
they dig it.
Yeah, I am 100% sure she would love it. It was
Yeah.
so funny because the snow was in the forecast and she was like, oh, we get to go snowboarding. And I was like, it doesn't work like that in Dallas, but there might be some snow that you can play with. So she woke up at like 7 a.m. and was making snow angels and everything early in the morning, and it was a really fun day. And then it was like all cleared out by the afternoon. We're like, okay, back to school. Let's get back on track here. And they're like, oh, school's canceled on Tuesday. And that came down pretty early.
2:30 for us.
2:30, yeah.
Dallas was before or whatever.
It seemed like it was like noon or 1. It was almost
It
one
was
of those
early.
things like I feel like, and Kelly and I were talking about, like, I think they had already decided.
Yeah.
Like, they were planning on it being icy or something, and they were just planning to have Tuesday off
Well,
too.
and here's like I get really annoyed by people who aren't from this area and like they're from Minnesota or something, and they're like, I mean, this is so ridiculous the way that people treat snowstorms down here. I mean, look at this picture. Does this look like we shouldn't have school? We have to think about is that not everyone gets a ride to school.
Yeah.
My kids are in or my daughter at least is in a brand new school with like, it's, with brand new pipes and like, but I remember when I volunteered at another school in Fort Worth ISD that like that building was cold on a 40-degree day. Like, not all schools are built the same. Not all kids are in the same situation. Like, there are other factors that go into these decisions. So for people to just flippantly be like, oh yeah, they just didn't want to do it or what, I mean, no, that frustrates me. Like, oh my God, these people are so dumb. Why are we not having school? Like, think about situations other than just your own, maybe.
Yeah.
Think about the kids standing by the bus stop for 10 minutes, which may not seem like a big deal, but when it's fucking -4 wind chill, kind of a big deal, you know?
Yeah.
So anyway, that's my rant.
Well, and you also have to think about this, like people in California talk about, people in Texas all the time, how, we're not good or that we're not on the same power grid as everybody else. But Texas can withstand 120 degrees during the summer without needing those rolling outages. Whereas like someone like Montana or whatever, wherever up north, if that were to happen, it wouldn't be the same.
The reason we don't treat it the same is because this shit doesn't happen here all the time. So you can't just stop.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, and we're lucky, like, with Kelly's new situation. He's home and
Yeah.
all that. But it is very hard when you have two people that have to go to work and
100%. And I'm not
figure
saying
out
it's
what
not
you're
hard.
doing
I'm
with
just
your
saying
kids.
just like maybe think about like
Yeah.
people who have different situations than
Yeah.
yours. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So yeah, we survived all that pretty well. And everyone's back on track now, back to school and back to work and
I know.
everything else. And at my work, I don't know if we want to move on, but, the Cowboys were
I'm
big-
done. Like that's just been beaten. If you'd listened to local radio lately, I think I'm just beaten into submission.
You mean like what I'm doing every day for 4 hours?
I mean, it's like, what are we? Okay, how much more can you dissect this complete, total debacle? Like, whatever.
I think it's
just-
quickly moved from dissecting that game to, like, what's next.
Yeah. No.
because-
I agree. But I guess I just have tired head about it.
I do too.
Yeah.
But yesterday it felt good to talk through it all because I couldn't just move on.
Yeah.
Because of the job and also because like this dumb job has got me back into it all.
I know, and we talked
I
about
was
it
in
with
a
Jesse.
good place. So like I was
know.
in a good place.
And I hate it
where I
because
didn't have to follow it so closely and start caring because
I
you
know.
know this just gonna happen every year.
I know, and I do care. I'm with you. I mean, it's like we talked to Jesse about last week. Like I love this team, and I love Dak. Like, and he sucked. He sucked, and it broke my heart for him. And I hate hearing people pile on him, but I realize it's part of the gig and whatever. But yeah,
He said he sucked. He was
I know.
Like, I sucked.
I mean, he knows. I
He
mean,
knows.
It's not like he's.
Which is it's hard a little bit to. It's easy to forget how good he was this season and how good he and Mike McCarthy were together this season. When you're just hyper focused on the playoff game, but unfortunately, that's what the Cowboys are judged on is winning in the playoffs, and so it's easy to say like clean the house or whatever. but he did have a really good season. So I don't know. It's tough. I would be shocked if McCarthy's still here.
Really?
By the end of the week.
Okay.
That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
I think Dan Quinn will probably go get another head coach job, and that's fine. The defense was terrible.
Yeah.
The defense couldn't, even if the offense could put something together, the defense would give something up every time. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. And in hearing Isaiah say on our show yesterday, like how seeing Jerry in person, he was like, and he knows him well. He played for him.
Yeah.
Played, drafted by them or whatever a long time ago and covers the team. He's like, I've never seen him that sad.
Yeah.
Like that.
Because it wasn't just a loss. It was a
wrenching
fucking disaster.
It was a disaster.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see what happens. And it's sad to not have them to follow anymore, but I do feel like the storylines that we do have in the NFL playoffs right now are very exciting.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you saw, but I switched allegiances on Twitter over the weekend. I guess you haven't seen.
I'm still not on Twitter.
That's weird.
I don't even have it like to check mom game stuff. I do need to, like, because there's some news with Bally and Amazon that came down, and I'm like, I need to get on Twitter for that. Maybe I'll get back on. I don't know. I mean, like personally, or at least get on the mom game. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I heard it on The Freak this morning. KT broke it in. And I was like, oh, if I would have been on Twitter, I would have seen that because it had come down,
Or if you listen to The Freak.
Or if you listen to The Freak, yes,
we're all on top of everything.
For sure. But yeah, I probably need to get back on. But so, okay, you switched allegiance to.
I'm a Chiefs fan now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty.
It was already kind of brewing just because.
I think we all know where this is coming from.
No, it's not solely because of Taylor, but it definitely helps.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
went to Mizzou, so.
Okay.
My friends were very into the Chiefs when I was in college, and they sucked.
Yeah.
And I kind of, I liked learning about the Chief Kingdom and the fandom because they were so hardcore.
Have you gone to a game there?
Even when the team sucks. I haven't.
God, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's so unbelievable. And I'm a Chiefs fan too because of Patrick Mahomes.
Right. So there's that. There's Patrick Mahomes being a Texan, and then going to school in Mizzou. He's a Red Raider. Yes, of course. And then a lot of my friends are still in Kansas City, and so they're, when they won the Super Bowl, I felt like I was celebrating with them and all their families and their kids, and it was just very exciting. And now, they have Taylor on their side.
Did you see the story about that cute jacket she was wearing?
Yes, it is so cool.
The jacket was adorable, and I remember thinking, oh my gosh, how cute is that jacket that she has on?
I knew it was going to happen.
Okay.
I was tracking that story early in the week.
We've got Taylor Swift expert here, everyone.
It has happened, and
you were tracking
there's
that
no
story.
turning back now.
Wait,
I am a hardcore Swiftie.
What were you tracking?
Well,
a jacket?
Yes. So Kristen, whatever her last name is, her husband plays for the 49ers.
Okay.
And she posted on Instagram working on something. Y'all will see.
Were you following her? This
no,
Kristen
but I follow all the Swiftie accounts. And the Swiftie accounts knew that she made Britney's jacket that Britney had already worn. And so they must have been tracking. And so this Kristen girl posted about the jacket and was like, coming soon. Y'all are going to love this. And so they were all predicting that she was making a jacket for Taylor Swift. So I knew that this was happening because I saw that earlier in the week.
You were, I saw that.
She made one for Taylor Lautner.
You were tracking.
But she just, she shot her shot.
She did.
Because I guess she just told Brittany, who she had made one for already, she was like, hey, I know you're like hanging out with Taylor all the time. Do you think if I make one that Taylor will wear it? And so Brittany was the one that kind of like made that happen. And then
now that
Taylor
girl is going to blow the
she
F
already has like 300,000 more followers on social media than
and
she
what was so
did,
cute is her husband's like so proud and like kept saying like that's my wife. My wife made that
on
jacket.
every little thing. Yeah.
Super cute.
I love that story. And then Taylor gave someone her scarf from the suite, like a lady that was sitting underneath her. They were kind of chit-chatting a little bit, and she could see that the lady was all red and cold because that game looked so miserable. Like,
awful.
I couldn't even believe Taylor showed up. I definitely would. I told Kelly, I was like, I love you, but if you were playing, I would be watching from home.
So it's funny you say that. So we were watching that as a family, and I was like, I cannot think of a circumstance in which I am going to this game.
No.
And my mom was over, and she goes, if Henry was playing, and I'm like, Bingo.
If
That's
Henry
it.
was
If
playing.
Henry was playing, I'm
Like,
in.
sorry, Kelly, but
That
if
is
Ryder
the
makes
only,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
that is the only way. And then I don't care if I have to mortgage the house. I'm getting a fucking suite. Like, I'm not
Yes.
sitting outside.
No. And that wasn't even as bad as Buffalo, where the fans were having to
Yeah.
shovel snow and getting paid $20 an hour. And then the game was
Yeah.
even postponed because it was so bad. I'm like, fuck,
I know.
these
There
games are
is-
insane.
I know. And there is, I love the NFL. I mean, I really,
Yeah.
especially in the playoffs. I mean, and I'll watch it. I mean, listen, we've got it on every Sunday
Yes.
and Monday and Saturday and Thursday. Like,
Yep.
whatever. I mean,
It's a lot.
if the NFL is on, we're watching. And there is some great storylines in the playoffs,
Yeah.
even though the Cowboys aren't a part of them.
The Cowboys are out. But
they are
yeah,
so
I'll go
very
for the
out.
Chiefs, who now have to play in Buffalo.
So very out. Yeah.
So
So
we'll
it should
see
be a
if
great game.
Taylor will
Yeah.
be there.
Okay, let's get to a little newsy. That was our sports.
Okay.
Mavs and Stars. Now our attention is on you. Like way more of
so-
our
do
attention.
something. Make us proud.
Let's go. Let's go. TMG News Desk brought to us by our friends at Rev, who've got a very cool thing coming up. Of course, Rev is the company who manages Globe Life Field for everything outside of the Texas Rangers, which that season will be here before we know it, and a little bit of news personally on that front for me coming up a little bit later. But let's talk about Rev and the cool college baseball tournament they've got coming.
Yes, I have seen a little bit about this in the news because it is very cool. Sometimes you don't realize how many awesome things we have going on here in DFW if you're a sports fan. College baseball is now returning to Globe Life Field, which is, of course, some of the World Series champion Texas Rangers. Globe Life Field is kicking off the college baseball season with 3 straight weekends of action featuring some of the top teams in the country that will be right here in Arlington. It all starts with the Shriners Children's College Showdown presented by Kubota from February 16th through 18th. So that's coming up here pretty soon in about a month, just under. That will feature Oklahoma, Texas Tech, Baylor, Tennessee, Nebraska, and Oregon. So if you're a fan of any of those teams or just a fan of baseball, you have kids that play baseball, I'm sure this would be so fun for them to go check out. February 16th through 18th, and then following that, there's a couple more weekends of action, February 23rd through 25th, and March 1st through 3rd. That one is going to feature TCU, Texas A&M, Arkansas, Oklahoma State, Michigan, Oregon State, USC, and Arizona State in the Kubota College Baseball Series. So much fun. Go to globelifefield.com/college baseball for more information. You can get tickets for all 3 of those weekends. They are on sale now. Don't miss out on the chance to see your favorite school in this premier college baseball event.
I am going to try to go and check that out. See my Red Raiders play. I know that Mike will want to go see, and too me. The Horned Frogs play. Our friend Kirk Sarloos is the coach, head coach at TCU for their baseball program, and so
Whoa.
I think we will definitely try to go, especially because it's indoors. Like,
Oh, yeah.
sign me up. Like,
Yeah,
great
and
activity.
What a fun thing to do with kids that I might like just tell Ryder's whole little baseball team about it.
That
you
would
know?
be fun.
Yeah.
for sure. So check that out. globelifefield.com/college baseball. Okay, so we alluded to a little bit earlier. So the whole Bally, MLB, all the things has a little bit of a development. I mean,
Yeah.
not even a little bit, a big development. And the fact that Amazon, I don't really understand it totally, but Amazon has bought, I guess, invested in Diamond Sports, which owns Bally, to take on their streaming. And I don't really understand what this means. So I texted my former coworker, CJ Wilson, CJ Nitkowski, because basically I just go to him for all things that like need explaining in this whole
Right.
TV situation. And so I text CJ this morning when I heard, and I said, "Tell me what this Amazon thing means." He said, "I think it means the Bally teams that own streaming rights expect to utilize Amazon to stream them. MLB probably would want its own deal with Amazon." And I don't know if I should say all these things. I don't know if he was wanting me to share all of those things. Anyway, but that is the basic gist of it, that perhaps that the Bally teams that own the streaming rights expect to utilize Amazon to stream them.
And they would be on Amazon Prime. I
Amazon
think.
Prime.
Yeah.
Um,
So Amazon kind of came in and like saved Bally from going under.
well, and
Right?
they
Essentially?
and according to like someone within the Bally world,
Yeah.
it's a big step in our journey to emerge from Chapter 11. having Amazon as a streaming platform is huge, not only in distribution, but the potential for e-commerce, consumer data gathering, etc. I mean, that again, this is all completely unofficial and nothing from anybody with any sort of whatever. But just kind of, CJ was just trying to give me a basic, just an understanding, and he reads up on a lot of this stuff, and so that was kind of his insight for it.
So it's not necessarily like they're buying Bally and it's going away. It's like they're saving Bally, and Bally might still exist.
I think maybe in the streaming platform, in the streaming area, I don't know about like
actual TV.
If they would take over channel whatever. I don't know. I don't know that. I don't think that's what it is. So anyway, it's, I guess, a positive step.
It's something at least.
It's something.
Yeah.
So yeah, this has been a complete and total shit show. And this offseason's been really hard. It sucks for, a team like the Rangers who wins their first ever World Series, and you're, riding this wave of momentum and a high, but you're coming off a season, especially a regular season, which a lot of people couldn't watch you because they couldn't find you, or they didn't have your TV provider. Like, just sucks. But it's, it is what it is, and hopefully we'll, continue to move forward and move on from it. I finally have a little bit more clarity as far as my future is concerned, and a lot of it was waiting on a TV deal, and even though one has not been reached, a ruling is supposed to come down Friday on the 19th. Who knows if that will, it just keeps getting pushed down the road. So finally I did meet with the Rangers. I've met with him a couple of times, and then I think John Blake, my boss, who's negotiated my contracts for the last, decade plus, we sat down and basically outlined, what they would like, and, from me, all that kind of stuff. And we have an agreement kind of in structure, in terms. Nothing's official or has been signed yet, but I do feel confident that deal will get worked out, and I'll be back next year. It won't be as many games. It'll be less games, which is good for me. I continue to want to kind of work my way backwards. And so it's, in talking to my family, we think it's I want this season. Just because, it does appear Adrian's going into the Hall of Fame. We have the All-Star game. We're coming off a World Series. Usually I do really not waffle, but I take serious consideration every season, before every season, if I'm going to come back, and the time commitments and family and where my kids are in their lives and all that kind of stuff. And this year, it was just really a no-brainer, and it was a very scary feeling because the uncertainty of the TV deal. There was a lot of like, is it even going to be an option for me? And like, that terrified the shit out of me. Like, damn, am I, like, after all these years, like 20 years covering this team, 10 years working directly for them, and now after our World Series, and Adrian's going to go to the Hall of Fame, and we're going to have the All-Star game, and now this is the one year that like I don't even have the choice, like, of what's going to happen. It made me really on edge.
Yeah.
It made me extremely anxious. Usually by this time I've got like our summer vacation planned, and I've got my road trip schedule, and I've got all these things planned out, and we were not in that position. And so I do appreciate the Rangers for making it a priority to, even before this whole TV deal gets hashed out, for making it, me a priority in my position and all that kind of stuff. So I'm excited about it. I'm excited to continue to kind of, like I said, work my way backwards, but still be very involved in the organization, not just as far part of the television broadcast, but also doing, some special projects for them, some, things in the community, with our corporate partners, all that kind of stuff. So cool. I'm super excited, and I feel like a huge sense of relief. I texted you guys last night to tell you. And like I said, nothing's official and nothing's solid, and don't cut any of this for social media because I don't want it out there just yet. But for our faithful listeners that listen every week, that's the latest on me. So that's
yay. That's great.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can.
I'm excited.
Check that off and maybe move forward a little bit. And
it just was it was just, it made me, it was a very anxious feeling that's lasted, It's been like usually I have my deal done like sometimes before Thanksgiving, and I knew it was going to be longer this year because we went, we
played longer.
we played into November, like, and so I thought, maybe December 1 but then we go past the holidays, and I was like, for fuck's sake, like, can we just get this done so I can at least
no matter
know
where they land, at this point you'll be a part of the broadcast.
Yes, for not as I did 80 games last year. It will be less this year. So, but which is what I want. And so I'm grateful to them, and I'm excited.
Good. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Cheers with some
I know.
Coppola.
We can't drink because I'm prepping for a colonoscopy and all that fun stuff.
You gotta go do radio.
Okay, but yes, thanks to Coppola for continuing to sponsor our studio all year long, and we've got our fancy new little mic flags from Victoria Elliott, my sweet sorority sister, who we'll have on the show. She's got a great story too. At some point in the next few weeks, months, local Geico office. Victoria Elliott, she's awesome. So yeah, that's about it. I think we got to get to we got 2 guests. So you want to intro both of them?
Sure. Yeah, we'll wrap things up with Tiffany, but before we get to Tiff from Tiff's Treats, let's check in with our friend Michelle, who's going to tell us a lot more about all of the awesome things that Epic Waters Indoor Water Park has to offer.
Yay! And we interrupt our regularly scheduled Mom Game content for a visit with a very special friend, Michelle Hernandez from Epic Waters. Michelle, thanks so much for coming in. Our viewers and listeners have heard us talk about Epic Waters for the last several weeks now. We got to take a trip out there. This was all kind of a relationship born with you and Julie. So fill us in.
Well, we're very happy to be a part of the Mom Game, and it's one of those things where it's just a natural fit, because for us all as moms, we try and find the fun things for our kids to do. And what I love about our park, it's just year round. We call it summer all year long, and weatherproof fun, even with this cold weather and hot weather. It's never too hot, too cold, 85 degrees all year round. And I just love that Julie reached out to us, and we got to work on how the partnership works. She got to visit initially, and then we love that you guys were there, got to experience it yourselves and brought your family. So I saw your posts and everything, so we were so happy to see how you guys enjoyed it. So we're just really glad to be a part of this.
Yeah, we absolutely loved our time there. So thank you so much for having us. Emily got me on some water slides.
Yes, Julie was scared.
I was scared.
And I'm a scaredy cat, but she's even more of a scaredy cat than I am.
I didn't realize how
brave.
scared I've gotten as I get older. Have you done them all?
Well, no, I haven't gotten on all of them. We have 11, so it is one of those where it's kind of like, they go from like the simple slides, and we have one that's literally 7 stories tall, full drop.
Yeah, that one looks very scary.
But it's fun. The good thing is you kind of land in the water, and it's fun. And we have even racing ones. We have the little loops and the little kids. So what I love, it's for kids of all ages.
Yeah.
So we have the longest lazy river in Texas, and we're the affordable way to enjoy this destination that's so convenient in DFW, right in between Dallas and Fort Worth. So we're really loving the fact that it's just so easy to get to. And some people, we have kids, and what's most that I love about it is that we have kids that are like, man, I've just dreamed of coming to Epic Waters, and you don't realize what kind of gem this is in the area. That people just this is like people's vacation. This is they can't go out of town. They can't, or there's too many people. And it's an affordable way to enjoy a staycation and be able to have the perks of going out of state, in state, and in our DFW area.
Yeah, my kids have been asking already to go back. I had a girlfriend reach out, and she's like, give me the dish on, Epic Waters. I have a girlfriend who's been her kids wanting to have a birthday party. What do you think? And I'm like, it's awesome. It's amazing. And it was funny because when Julie reached out to you guys, I actually visited Epic Waters when it very first opened because some friends of mine were actually the contractors on it, Lee Lewis Construction. And so we got to go and kind of experience it. My kids had a blast. I shoved my crying child who was scared down a water slide, which is not advisable if you want to be a good mom. But anyway, I digress.
We all have our mom moments.
Yes, I digress. But I was surprised, and I thought, well, Julie, is this even, what, do they even need a partner like us or what? I didn't know. But then she told me, and then we talked to you. like what all y'all do. It's not, I mean, it's open year round. It's, great, but like you're doing a lot of
events
fun
and
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, you did
Oh,
the New
yeah.
Year's thing, and then you've got,
We've
all
done, and
kinds of fun
the
stuff
great
going.
things, we're trying to incorporate a lot of things that are just included in admission. We've got a Taylor Swift tribute coming up called Epic Tributes, and this is a new series that we're going to kind of start with some tribute bands that are just kind of like an added bonus of entertainment. We're even doing an epic plunge, so if you really want to go outside your comfort zone and drop in our wave pool when it's cold outside, we're doing that in February, so it'll be fun. But we just have a lot of events coming up, and our main times are spring break. Spring break is just a time when people can plan, and during that week, and it's really busy. And what we want to kind of tell people is, yes, March is really busy, summer is really busy, but year round there could be days you come on a Saturday, or you guys came, and you could have the park to yourselves. So year round it's always something to be like, don't go off of when we're really busy, that there's days like during the week from like a 4 to 8 or on a Friday, there's times where you can enjoy with your family and just get on the slides and get off. And it's just time where you can be, hey, let's go for an hour, let's go for a couple hours, and you could have the park and just easy access to everything.
Yeah.
The food is what I'm really liking as well. We have a great cafe for the food, pizzas and burgers, and
Pretzels,
chicken-
mimosas. I
Oh,
had a
yes.
couple
We have
mimosas
a
when I
bar
was
for
there.
the
Yes.
adults, so it's fun things that we just have everything that could be for any type of family. We're even working on some things for the adults and be able to just enjoy it, kind of thing. Bring a chaperone, kind of hang out at the bar, kind
Yeah.
of stuff. So we're just so convenient in this Epic Central, and just to be a destination. We're having hotels open around us, so we're going to be able to compete. We're going to have hotel stay. We've got amazing restaurants around us. And we've got lots of entertainment for people to be able to be in that area and be able to enjoy us, 1, 2, or 3 days of the week.
So you talk about, spring break, obviously a busy time, but like in the weeks leading up now, in between, the holidays, I mean, obviously y'all were open all during the holiday break when kids were out of school. What about now, this time when kids are back in school? It's not spring break. What are the hours?
So basically during the school year, any day school's closed, we're open. Any day they're off school, we go off of the ISD calendars, and we look at being open all day. So if we're not in, the heavy season, Mondays and Wednesdays we're open 4 to 8, and Fridays we're open 1 to 8, and then we're all day Saturday and Sunday.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and then our website kind of keeps up, and our social, we kind of really keep up with people, let them know what's going on every day, what's coming up, how the weather is. We even do posts based on the weather to come, because we're weatherproof fun. And then we've got a newsletter that goes out every week to let people know about our events and what's going on.
Well, I've loved getting to learn all about Epic Waters, getting to know you. I know that I had heard of it, but I had never been, and I didn't really know what it was all about. And with kids, my kids' ages, 8 and 5, it was just perfect. You mentioned the little kid area. Like my daughter Anna was just playing around in there, and I knew she was safe. I was still keeping an eye on her, but for her to have somewhere she could kind of flop all around. But then she also was going on the water, the slides with her brother. And all of a sudden, they were just taking off on their own. And I was kind of in this, like, is she okay? She's only 5. But there's just lifeguards everywhere. I know it's a really safe place. And it really is just something for everybody. I know you even referenced one time, like, it was like a cruise, but without the cost of the cruise.
We've had reviews that we're the cruise entertainment without the cost.
Yeah.
And without having to go anywywhere. And
was
that's
really
what I
great.
really love is the safety. Lifeguards around, their safety, training all the time. And it's just the right size to not worry about your kids running off. And
Yeah, it's not
being
too
able
big.
to,
Yeah.
I mean, it's big enough, but it's definitely not too big to where you're like, oh, they're, clear across, the, highway or whatever.
Yeah, and our staff are whether you're going from the staff that are out in the park, or just even executives kind of going around, if we even see kids, or are you alone? Everybody's on the watch to keep the kids safe. So we're very high priority in that, because we take such pride in our guests and want them to come back and have the best experience.
So tell people where they can find you guys on social media. And then also, too, we have a discount code that will last until I think it's like March.
We have it through March 8th,
8th?
because we go into spring break.
Sure.
But then after that, we'll kind of ramp it back up again.
Sure.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So, but we have the Mom Game discount, and you do the code the Mom Game, and it's 20% off admission. And we have we're located on 161 in Grand Prairie, so it's right between 20 and 30, so very convenient to Dallas and Fort Worth. And so we're easy access. We're in our little areas called Epic Central. So Epic Central is very up and coming.
Yeah,
We've
there's
got
a ton.
Vidora, Loop 9. We've got the Finch. We've got new Serious Eats coming. We've got one of the top chefs internationally opening up a new place called the Radici. That's Italian. And then we're getting an egg breakfast place called Dippy Egg. So we're getting a lot of things coming to our area. We've got Chicken and Pickle. That's kind of one of our flagship areas as well. A lot of family fun. So people even go to Chicken and Pickle, go to Epic Waters over the weekend. So that's kind of a weekend just there. Pickleball one day and Epic Waters the other day. So.
Yeah. Well, remind us where we can find you on social media so
And
everyone can follow.
social is Epic Waters GP. So we're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. So we're kind of everywhere anybody would look.
Awesome. Thanks so much for being with us, Michelle, and thanks for having us out. We're excited about this partnership. Yeah. I'm certain we'll be back.
Okay, now we are so excited for this special guest on this week's edition of the show. It is Tiffany Chen, the Tiff from Tiff's Treats. The one and only Tiff is here in studio with us. Thank you so much for making the trip from Austin.
Oh, yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we're so excited about this because here on this show, we just love to tell the story of not just successful women, but successful moms. And your story is one that I think is amazing. So I know we definitely probably just want to start with kind of how this whole thing got started. And it might have all started with a date.
It did. Yeah, so this started like so long ago at this point. Did you know it's our 25th anniversary this month?
I got that in my email because I'm a subscriber.
Insane. So 25 years ago, so my now husband, Leah, and I were back here in Dallas from winter break. We were sophomores at UT in Austin. And I was ice skating with a friend, and I was supposed to meet him later. We were actually dating at the time.
Okay.
So a lot of people think it was a first date. It wasn't a first date, but I was supposed to meet him later, and I didn't have a cell phone. There were no cell phones. I didn't do the payphone thing. And so my ice skating ran long, and when I got home, I had missed his date entirely. And my mom was there, and she was like, "That's so rude. You should do something to apologize." So I used to make cookies for fun. That was my thing. So I made him a set of cookies, drove them over to his dad's house where he was staying. And I guess the cookies happened to be warm when I got there. And so, of course, okay, so apology accepted. He takes one bite of the cookies, and he'll say now that it was like the best thing he had ever tasted in his life, and immediately said, "We should do this as a business. We should think about pizza delivery, but with cookies."
Yeah.
And at the time, this was 1999. So you could get Chinese food, you could get pizza. That was about it. Maybe some wings delivered. And so there was nothing like this at all. And so we said, actually, I said, no, thank you. Because I was 19. We were both 19. And we were sophomores. I wasn't interested. I wasn't even doing business.
What was your major?
Nothing. I mean,
General studies.
You weren't there yet. Yeah.
I was at the moment. I think I was an advertising major, but I wasn't super committed. And I don't know that I had quite found what I was going to do. But it wasn't business. But then he kept saying no, you don't understand. This is gonna be so fun, and we can make a lot of money. And he was trying not to get a real job. At the time, and he needed a job. He's like, "We're gonna make so much money. This is gonna be so much fun." Anybody who's owned a business knows neither of those things are true at all for ages, or ever. But he kind of convinced me. And so later that day, I went up to the grocery store and I said, "Okay, well, let me at least how much does it cost? And what other flavors besides chocolate chip would we even do?" So I called him back. I was like, "Well, maybe it would be fun." He comes back over to my mom's house. We use the dial-up internet and figure out how are we going to box them. We came together with a white box, and then it was his idea to tie a little bow around it. In fact, we're from Dallas, and our favorite restaurant was Cafe Max in Richardson. Do y'all know that place?
No.
Oh my God, it's so good. It's still here.
Still there?
Yes.
Okay.
Have to try it.
It's so good. And they tie their silverware with a little bow. And so it's like a plastic set of silverware with a paper napkin tied with a bow. It's just like a perfect little something. He was like, "We should tie a bow on it." And so we were like, okay. So we do. And then the other thing was where would we do this from? And so we decided to just do it from, he had a college apartment that he shared with roommates. And we're like, we've got an oven in there. And so 2 weeks later, we moved back to college. Forgot to tell his roommates about it. They found out when they came back. We were like, "By the way, we now have a nighttime business in this."
Okay, and how long had you been dating?
Well, we actually went to high school together, so we had known each other for a long time, and we had been dating about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this wasn't like
it
long
okay,
enough
to
to
go into
start a
business
business.
with this. Like,
Yes, because
This
I mean, I think
hookup.
when the story is truncated, I look bizarre for like why you go from a misdate to like a committed business. So no, we knew each other very, very well.
but it's that's a fast. I mean, like a couple of weeks to like
Yeah.
put these wheels in motion. That's a
Two
pretty-
weeks, and
yeah.
then we didn't figure we needed a lot. We went to Kinko's. We printed flyers. We passed them out around campus.
Kinkos.
Yeah,
It's been a minute.
they were black and white.
Yeah.
Like it was like a red piece of paper with whatever we put on it. I'm sure it looked. No, I know it looked terrible. And then we were young too, so we could go around school, and people thought we lived in those dorms, and we just go into the dorm and then pass them under all the doors. I couldn't do that now. People would be like, "Madam, please
Creeper."
leave." But at the time, and then we waited 3 days. And nobody called. And we had already told a couple of our friends that we were doing this, plus the roommates now at this point knew. So it was very embarrassing. We were like, well, this
You're
is
19.
one of those things.
It's like, oh,
One of
well.
those things. But then 3 days later, somebody did call and placed an order. Her name was Amy. And we were only open at night because we went to school during the day. I think this call came in during the day, and Leon called me and said, "Do you have a friend named Amy?" I said, "No." He was like, "Oh my God, I think somebody's just ordered for real."
We have our
Um,
first
It
customer.
was our first customer. And
Do you know who she is now? Like,
so funny enough, a couple years ago, we went on TikTok and said, "We're looking for Amy. Here's what we know about her." We roughly knew, I forget, like she was blonde. She lived at this dorm in these days, and she was super nice. We had a lot of people say, "I think I'm Amy," including somebody named Ashley. We were like, "I
Like,
don't
your
think-
name's not
I
even
don't
Amy.
think you're Amy, but thank you." But we did. We found her.
yeah.
Aw.
Yeah, we found her. She was living overseas, and she was super, super nice.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that first order comes in, and then how do things?
So from
Escalate.
there, pretty slowly. We were just doing it at night. It was just the two of us. But what kind of turned it around for us? Two things. One, we got in good with a couple of the private dorms at UT. And there's one in particular called SRD. And so once some of the girls there liked it, then they all started liking it. So it became sort of a thing between the girls in the West Campus area of campus. But then the other big thing was UT themselves found out about it and asked if we could cater their new student orientation, but for the parents. They had a parents program every Tuesday in the summer, and they needed 75 dozen. And we were like, yeah, sure, we can do 75 dozen every week. We had like this tiny, like 1970s oven, which could do like probably 2 dozen at a time. So it took us 12 hours.
Yeah.
So these ones couldn't be warm. We had to do them the day before and put them on catering trays.
Right.
And we catered every week. And we thought it was like the biggest deal to us that we had ever done. But through that, some of the parents that lived in Austin said, "Can you do this too during the day? My law firm would like to have
Wow.
cookie delivery service and all this." And so we started doing, we weren't open during the day at that point because we were still going to school. But for a certain amount of, like a certain order size, we would say, okay, well, if you order, how much was it? 4 dozen. And at the time our prices were crazy low. We were like, if you do 4 dozen, then we'll skip class and deliver it to you. But people do that all the time because it's for a whole office.
Right.
So we started doing that more and more and more. And then we had the business the whole time through college. And then when we graduated, we honestly at that point had put so much into doing the business that we certainly graduated, but I didn't have like any other skills that we had polished. We didn't have any other careers that we had sort of gone towards. We said, should we give it a try? We're like, let's do it.
So when did you get a bigger oven? That's what I want to know.
Okay,
Because the
great
logistics
question.
of this are stressing me out.
Yes. So we had I think for a full year, we had the apartment with roommates, and then they had enough of us.
Oh, I can only imagine.
And they're
Like,
trying to like
The
make
cookies
their
are great
pizzas
for
and
a little
stuff.
while, but
Oh,
like,
no.
uncle.
I don't even remember any of us eating the cookies because we bake to order, and we still do now, but it's not like we bake a whole bunch and then hope people order. Like,
Right.
if you ordered, then we would bake them. So there wouldn't be spares. God, I'm feeling even worse for those roommates. Like, I don't even think we ever fed them any of these.
They were
Didn't
no
even offer them.
No, I don't think we did. But but it was very bothersome to them. But 2 other big things. 1, the oven was too small. And 2, we were too far from campus. At the time, we were really just targeting students. And we were probably a 10-minute drive. And when you're on-demand delivery, a 10-minute drive is killer. Like, you need to be right next to your customer base. So about a year in, we started looking for another place. We got really close to a church on campus that actually said, you can use our kitchen if you cater our Sunday school or whatever. And we were like, perfect. We were so excited, but then like the next day they said, oh, it's a for-profit business and we can't do it. So went back to the drawing board, but we eventually found a potato shop on the drag, which is like the main piece across from campus, that was looking for, they had more space than they needed. They needed help with their rent. So we ended up sharing kitchen space with them, and we'd be in the back of their space, and it was totally shared except that we bought our own oven. So we went to a used appliance store and got a double stack. It was still a residential oven, but at least it was like a double stack. And now we were in a actually food safe environment, like a real place.
Yeah.
And we tacked onto their orders. So if they were ordering, because previously we had gotten everything from Sam's, and if they were ordering from Cisco, and we could get a bag of flour tacked onto their order. So there was tons of benefits to doing that. And then our very first loan we got, I think it was Leon's stepdad loaned us $5,000, which we spent on a commercial oven. And that was huge for us. And we had these dreams that going to a commercial oven meant, so, our delivery is on demand. So speed is important. And cookies take a long time to bake. They take like 15 minutes. But we thought that when we got a commercial oven, it was going to take 5. I don't know why we thought that. Somebody had said it. We were like, oh, yeah.
They were going to be faster.
It's going to be 5 minutes.
Okay.
Like, oh, nice. So we spend all this money. We get this commercial oven, and we put the first set in. Sure enough, 5 minutes. Great. We deliver it to the customer. The customer calls back. She's like, these are completely raw on the inside.
Oh, gosh.
Completely.
Oh, gosh.
Because we had used the same temperature from a residential oven to a big convection oven. Convection ovens, you got to turn the temperature down. And so our dreams were crushed. It's still a better quality product, but we were back to the 15-minute bake time.
Right.
Still are.
Yeah.
We've been searching for that for 25 years.
Microwaves. There's no air fryer for cookies.
I don't know if there are, but we have not locked it in.
Okay, so now 25 years in, I mean, I know we have a store now in Fort Worth. I don't know how long that one's been there, but like now you've got
They're everywhere.
Freestanding stores. Like you have, so how has the business grown? How many employees you have? How does this all
So
work?
we ended up
is this you and that this is y'all's I would assume full-time gig?
Yeah.
Both of you.
Has
Ever
been.
since.
Has
Family
been ever
business.
since we graduated college. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Beyond full-time in the beginning, right? Because it's just the two of you.
Yeah.
We're open all the time.
And then when did you guys get married? I mean, like, did you ever think of like, well, shit, if this doesn't work, it's not going to be good? Or was that never?
Yes. Well, actually, we broke up for a bit of time.
Oh, how was that?
Awkward. But, well, we actually did a really weird thing. We pre-scheduled a breakup while we were in college. It was
okay. This is something I would do. I love you. You pre-scheduled a breakup.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was to be January 1st of 2000. So we did the Millennium New Year's
Well,
Eve.
Lord knows if the world's going to end, right?
Well, it was only because we had a couple years of college left. And we had not dated anybody else.
Yeah.
And I was like, this, is going down a trajectory of having this business. And so I said, well, I don't know, like, let's at least date other people while we're in college. We'll schedule a breakup. We scheduled it. We did New Year's Eve. And then the next day we were broken up. And we were broken up for years, actually. But
years.
Yeah.
Like, were you dating other people?
Sort of.
And talking about it with each other?
Sort of.
Just like
my gosh.
testing the water, seeing if anybody.
The thing is, I think we had dreams of
see if
like
you're going
having
back
other
together.
boyfriends and girlfriends.
Yeah, well,
that didn't
young.
happen. It didn't. It doesn't work though.
Yeah.
I don't regret doing it to a certain degree because I feel like being in a relationship your entire college career is not a great idea.
Yeah.
And same with like your 20s. But at the same point, we're both human beings, and we just couldn't make other relationships work.
But you tried.
At all. But we tried.
Yeah.
But we still saw each other every single night because we were doing the business. And eventually,
Were you hooking up while?
well,
Emily.
We know the answer.
but eventually we just sort of slid back into being a couple at some point.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you when that point exactly was. And then we pre-scheduled getting married because this is all me too. I'm the one.
You're the scheduler.
So amazing.
Because okay, so for our business, capital year was always busy. Capital session.
Okay.
For Austin, they would order tons of cookies. So we were like so busy in the springtime. I wanted to get married sometime when it was warm. So we chose a not capital year, and then after Mother's Day, like after the busy season had ended. And so I decided that 2010 would be.
Had he proposed yet when you pre-decided?
No, but he knew what to do.
So 2010, you guys get married.
Yeah.
Did you pre-schedule having a
Kids?
child?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
do tell on how, as
so
someone whose life has revolved around a baseball schedule for the,
Right,
mine,
and that's.
but
yeah.
I had IVF, I had issues
Well,
or
I
whatever.
did
So
too.
then I was okay.
I did too. So I pre-scheduled that we would have a baby again on the off season. Couldn't be over Valentine's because that's just deadly. Like
Right.
there's no
Yeah.
way. Like if I'm out, what if he's like needing to anyway? Not possible. At the time. I mean now
Right.
we're a bit bigger now, and now it wouldn't matter. But at the time, so we pre-schedule this. Well, sure enough, I can't get pregnant. And so I go pretty quickly into fertility and then into IVF. And I had my IVF doctor was incredible at what he did. Bedside manner, meh. And so we got
Was he in
along.
Fort Worth?
No, why is that?
No, I loved mine, but I loved him because he's completely and totally inappropriate. The shit he would say,
Yeah.
like he would get out the thing that
wand
goes,
thing?
yes,
Yeah.
and he would had a name for it and would
Oh
look
my
at Mike
God.
with it. Like my husband's in there and he's like, hey, what about this one? How's this size up for you?
Oh my gosh.
And I'm dying laughing. And Mike
Oh
at
my
first was
God.
uncomfortable, but I loved him. But for normal people, they're like, what the fuck is this man doing?
Yeah.
But for
I
me,
think I would have
was-
responded positively to
I
that.
was like, you're amazing. Like,
Mine was a
keep
different.
bringing the jokes, dude. Like, let's go.
Mine was more stoic and anyway, he liked me at first because I was all in on doing it, and then we got to the point where now we had passed my window of when this baby would happen, and I'm like slowing it down. He's
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? I was like, well, I can't have a baby over Valentine's Day. He's like, are you serious right now? I'm like, well, kind of. But then you get to that point where it's like, because I ended up doing 3 sessions of IVF before I got pregnant
Bless.
at all. So by the end, I was this close to asking my sister to be a surrogate. But I was like, I'll do it one more time. This is my last time. And I ended up having twins.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so-
2 and done?
Yeah, 2 and done.
Okay.
So it worked out.
Boys, girls?
A boy and a girl.
Oh, look at
That's
that.
perfect.
So at that point in time, in this way, if I'm getting too personal, please just tell me to shut up. But were you able to know which ones you were putting in?
No.
Because when I
Yeah.
had mine, because Henry was born in 2011, you didn't. But now I had friends even 5 years after that, they were like, oh yeah, we picked the boy and put him in. And I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck, how do you do that?
Because now they freeze them all and
Yeah.
they test them. When it's like in the olden days, in
Yes.
2014 when I was doing it, they only did that if they had reason to suspect that you needed to
Correct.
test it, and if you didn't have any of these warning signs, they thought it was better to just
Put it
put
in.
them in because there's a risk of them, I guess, dying off if
Yeah.
you test them. So we didn't know.
Okay. So boy, girl. And how old are they now? 20.
So now they're 9.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Okay. So what point did you know, okay, this is a viable,
Yeah, the
this
business?
is it.
I feel like you never know
Yeah.
that. And we weren't making money forever. But you know why? We were growing, number one. And number two, people loved what we were doing. And there was just an energy around it, even from the very beginning. And that's how we knew it would have been actually, it would have been practically made a lot of sense to say, we're not going to do this anymore. The numbers don't add up. we're not making any money. But it was just, the two of us, we ended up moving into an apartment together to save on money because we were never there anyway. And our cost of living was really low because it was just the two of us and we were very young. So we were very fortunate in that. And number two, at the time they were giving out, we got a line of credit for $100,000 with nothing really more than a signature. They were giving out things like that in those days, which we ended up using to build our first real location. Because that shared space we had, the landlord wouldn't give us a lease. And eventually they gave us, I think we had 45 days notice to exit, which is when you have a food brand, it's really hard to get another space constructed and permitted and all that. So we went through a crazy situation to get that done, but we found a new space, we constructed it, and we got in within 45 days, which is, if I did that now with the resources we have now, it would take a year.
Yeah.
So that was also just one of those things that like we pushed really hard, but also I think Leon thinks that in that moment they didn't think we would really do it. So they're like, I guess I'll sign off on these blueprints. Like, well, I made a copy from Kinko's.
Yeah.
I cut out things and put it to copy. And that's what we took to the city, which was like, I'm going to put an oven here and I'm going to put this there. And they were like, okay.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
So you expanded basically kind of like Texas first, right? Into other cities in Texas. Yeah. And now it's in other states too. How did that timeline of expansion go for
so
y'all?
We didn't open another spot for a long time. It was just the one spot. We had moved now in 2003. We moved to our standalone space, which is kind of our flagship. We're still there near the UT campus. And then in 2006, we opened in downtown Dallas as our second one. We're on Ross and Lamar. And we thought that was going to be great because we had built a little bit of a following in Austin. And most of our clientele were downtown. So we're like, oh, where's another downtown that we know that's going to be great? Oh, Dallas, but it's like 10 times bigger. So it'll be like 10 times better.
Right.
And then we get here and we're in this tiny space. We're around the corner. Nobody can see us. We can't deliver to anyone except for downtown because our delivery radius is small, but people have businesses that like, I'm here, but my client, is in Las Colinas or like, client's
giant.
Yeah. And so we actually struggled for a long time with that location. Oh. And meanwhile, we went back to Austin and we refilled it with a couple of other locations in sort of the, not suburbs, but like other areas of Austin. So that one was growing. And then in 2010, we came back to Austin and we opened Addison. There's one in Hillcrest. And that's when it kind of started picking up in Dallas. And so I think sometimes it's just that awareness sort of wheel that gets going, and that started kind of spiking for us in Dallas in 2010, and then we opened in Plano, and we added all these others, and after that we opened in Houston, and it kind of did the same thing, and so it was a while between the first and even the second, third, fourth, and then we just started opening much more quickly after that. So we're all over Texas basically. We've got some in Nashville, we're in Charlotte, we're in Atlanta. Atlanta was the first out of Texas market that we did. Another huge market.
Yeah.
Again, hard to like cover. We ended up opening 7 locations in
Atlanta.
But even so, Atlanta's huge.
Right.
And drive times are terrible. So even 7 is not that many for that size of a market.
Right.
So are you still family owned? Like, are you still just you and Leon, or did y'all bring on investors? Are you public?
Yeah, we're not public. We've got investors. A lot of investors.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you don't franchise.
We don't franchise.
Okay.
Yeah. They're all company owned. But yeah, Leon and I we took our first investor in 2008. Remember I was saying that we could get loans and things? Yeah. That dried up in 2008. We went to open our second Austin location, and we thought, we'll just get a loan. So like we signed the lease, we signed a bid for construction, we get started. We now at this point we owe all these people money, and we're like, and now piece number 3, let's go get that loan we need. And the bank's like, no, we're not loaning anybody any money. And so but we had a connection between our CPA said, my husband's business partner is looking to do investments. You should meet with him. And so we did. And we thought he would be like, I don't know. We live in Austin and this guy lives in Austin, but we still thought it was going to be like some black suit, slick back hair. So we're so nervous sitting in this restaurant ready to meet him. And this guy comes in a black t-shirt and Levi's. And we're like, and he sits down, it's him. And he wanted to do an investment. And it was the easiest. We had already been in business, at this point, 8 years. We had built our own software too, which I think was interesting to him to run the business. And he was like, yeah. And he invested personally. So he was an angel investor. He invested quite a bit right then without even ever going to see the store. And so we knew that was lucky, but then now all these years later, we've done so much investment work that's unheard of.
Yeah.
And the guy's awesome. Like
Yeah.
he always, like, he'll give you advice if you want advice. He's on our board, and he's very, very smart, but he doesn't like,
Interject himself.
yeah, exactly. And I think
Yeah.
at the wrong time, we've got other investors that had we taken at the wrong time, they really interject themselves because they're nervous.
Right.
This guy just believed in us and
Yeah.
so let us have our space.
That's great.
Yeah.
And Andy Roddick, Brooklyn
Uh-huh.
Decker.
Yeah, they're
Dirk.
investors. Dirk. Yeah.
How did all that happen? I love all of those people so much.
I know. It's
She
so funny.
really loves
I
Andy
used to have a
Roddick.
big crush on Andy Roddick.
Oh,
She
you
tried
do?
to call him on the phone.
When I lived in Austin,
she was like a
I
teenager.
tried multiple times. We'd go out on 6th Street or whatever,
Uh-huh.
and I'd get some liquid courage in me, and I'd call 411 and ask for Andy Roddick's number. They never gave it to me. They never gave it to me.
Oh my gosh, he's
They're
gonna
like,
be
you mean the
so-
Andy Roddick? And they'd hang up.
Oh, he'll love it.
Yes, well, and he's doing great now. He didn't need me. He got Brooklyn Decker in the end.
So how does that happen?
So that happened because, Austin is kind of a small community when it comes to meeting people. And we had worked with his foundation, ARF, for a couple of our grand openings. So our grand openings always benefit a charity. And so we give all the sales for that day to that charity. And we usually use something that's local to that particular community. And so one or two of them we had done with ARF, and we ended up meeting with Andy to say, how can we expand upon our ARF partnership.
Yeah.
Thanks. And he was like, yeah, we can do that. But also and I think in the same meeting we had said, and would you want to have like some kind of ambassador role? Foolishly, like, not a commercial.
You
but,
want
like,
some cookies?
do you want to do something? And he's like, I don't know if I want to do that per se, but what would you think about me investing? And we were like, oh yeah, that would be great. And he's like, and I think my wife would do it too. And we're like, okay. And so that's actually how we how they became investors, and honestly how we became friends too.
And then Dirk.
And then Dirk, I think we met through Andy, because Andy and Dirk are friends.
Okay.
And so we met.
Yeah, sure. I'll buy some cookies.
He's the nicest, nicest
Oh my God.
person in the world.
So when we started we had this is our 201st show.
Oh,
Our
nice.
very first show, we're like, who's our dream guest? And it's Dirk. And I used to cover the Mavericks, so I know Dirk, not
Yeah.
like intimately or anything like that, or we're not close buddies, but we've known each other over the years. And I mean, let me tell you that, like, I beat this man into submission until he finally came on the show. And he came on, a couple years ago, and he's just the most gracious, humble human being alive.
He is so nice, and I am 5 foot tall. So, like, I feel like our relationship is seated only, because when he stands up, I can't hear him,
Seated
and he
relationship.
can't hear me. So,
Yeah.
but
So fun. Okay, so how many locations now? If people don't know how to find Tiff Streets, do tell. But I mean, I feel like it's my go-to for, like, anytime I need to say thank you to someone or thinking about you.
It's a lot of people's
It's
go-to.
just
that's
so easy.
yes, thank you.
And on the software point, it's like literally I'm like click, click, click this, and I'm done.
Yeah, that's what we try to be, right? Like when we started, we were really thinking late night snacks, students, but what it evolved to sort of on its own was really more about gifting and sending and showing somebody that you remembered them. And now it's kind of taken a life of its own with what we call warm moments. And that's really what we're all about, which is just saying, hey, I'm thinking about you. I'm remembering you. You're important to me. And people are sending cookies this way. And then they'll send us messages saying, in fact, we just got one today saying, oh, my fiance and I, it's part of our love story. We would send each other cookies. And now we're getting married. We're going to serve Tiff treats at the wedding. And we get this kind of stuff all the time. And it really has struck a chord with people emotionally, which has been super neat. And I don't know how much of it is the fact that we just started with a little bow around it. And it just got people going. In fact, it was a customer that said, can I send this to somebody else? We didn't even think about that.
Right.
And we're like, yeah, I don't know why not. And now I think that's what people are drawn to, is that it's so meaningful, but also easy to do. And if you forgot, it's okay, because we do not only same day, but we'll get it there in a couple of hours. It's easy to order, but it makes you feel good when you receive it.
Yeah.
So that's what it's become. And so now we've got 92 retail locations and about 10 other that are just delivery only areas. We've got probably about 1,700 employees. So
Wow.
It's grown
Awesome.
quite a bit.
It's
Okay,
such
and
a
then
cool
who came? I
story.
mean, Tiff's treats, was that always the thing? Does Leon get pissed because it's like, oh, I mean, I did this too, and she gets all the love?
Yeah, sometimes. But actually, it's funny. People recognize him because in Austin, right? Like that's where we're from. Even more so than me. He's recognizable. I told him he's like a cartoon because he's got like black, like spiky hair. I was like, but if somebody was to draw a cartoon, it's easy to draw a cartoon of you. I'm more like just a regular person. So no, he's fine. He's the CEO. So I think
y'all are in it together.
He's doing fine. The name was actually originally Tiffany's Treats, but we got a letter in 2003 from Tiffany and Company asking us to change it.
Oh.
Yes.
Did they offer any concessions for a name
They
change?
offered not to sue us.
Okay.
No. Yes, we ended up it was a legal thing, and we settled. We settled for Tiff's Treats. So we took it.
Okay, but
Nice.
you didn't get any money on top of it, or
No.
or a ring or anything.
That'd be nice.
a diamond.
Some earrings of some
And
sort.
are there any secret ingredients? Anything that makes them so special? I know you've probably been asked that a million times.
No. I think it's funny because
They're so
I don't
good.
think there are secret ingredients to cookies, period. It's just a matter of, do you like more of this, less of this? We like them a little bit salty, so they probably have a little more salt than some other cookies. So a little more depth to them than overly sweet. But really, it's more about the freshness of baking. So this is how we did it at the beginning. We still do it the exact same way now. When your order comes in, we put it on a tray, just your order, and it goes into the oven just for you. So we don't make anything in advance. So when they come to you, they've just come out of the oven.
Yeah, and you added ice cream and
Yeah, we've got ice
you can do the
cream
milk
and
too.
of course milk. I think we had milk maybe from very early. You can do ice cream with it, which I highly recommend. You
So
should
good.
always do ice cream with cookies.
So good.
We've got little frosting cups called Frostums. We have little truffles, which are cookie dough balls that are dipped into chocolate, kind of like a cake ball. For some reason, we thought cookie ball didn't sound good, I think. So we call them truffles. And brownies. Oh, you know what's actually our best thing is we've got this trio of brownies. So it's like your regular fudge brownie, which is super chocolatey. Then there's a peanut butter chocolate bar that has a layer of a chocolate bar in the center, and then peanut butter cookie dough around it, or cookie.
Is that what we were munching on, Ash? There's some brownies right in there.
And so I guess it depends on your personal preference, but mine is the salted caramel blondie that's also in that pack, which is there's toffee on it, a little bit of sea salt. It's got some walnuts in it, some white chocolate. It's so good.
Oh my
That's
God.
that's my favorite thing.
Well, congratulations
Yeah.
on
Thanks.
your pre-scheduled breakup and
Right.
marriage and business.
Yeah, I'll let you know what else I haven't scheduled anything in a while. I need to shake it
But
up.
it was really fun having you in. Thanks for the goodies and sharing your story and being so candid. And
course.
Julie gets embarrassed of me when I ask inappropriate questions, but thank you very much for answering all of them.
Okay, no problem.
No,
Well,
this is
Tiff, thanks so
awesome.
much for being with us. The way we end all of our shows here on the Mom Game is you look at your camera. Ashley, tell her what answers. You look at your camera, you throw up the peace sign, and say Mom Game out.
Okay.
Let's do it on three.
Wait, at the same
At the
Yep.
same time.
same time.
1, 2, 3. Mom Game out.
The Mom Game is proud to partner with local Geico offices, Victoria Elliott, proudly serving your local community.